The Menai Strait is a special place. There's no doubt about it. It is.
I tell you, it'll make your eyes water or it'll make you smile. There's nothing in between.
It is the most stunning location. It takes me away and completely chills me out.
It's a huge honour to be able to live somewhere like here because I can entertain my creative need as well as my needs to be outdoors.
Go for a bit of a walk around somewhere and just sit somewhere just for an hour. I'm surprising what you'll see around the Menai Strait.
The Menai Strait, a magical stretch of sea that separates the Isle of Anglesey from mainland Wales. This series brings you a year in the life of the Strait, capturing the beauty of 4 glorious seasons and the life cycle of the men and women who live here. The beauty and challenges of life on the most incredible saltwater river in Britain.
The Strait does come alive for spring, and it's an interesting transition because it does happen quite quickly. It's quite a good barometer generally for the season. People want to get out again after the winter. You start getting a bit of a spring and you step a bit of a buzz.
I think you change from being wrapped up like the Michelin Man to dressing appropriately for the conditions.
As soon as it goes above 10 degrees, I think, you start getting that first bit of warmth and everybody starts thinking about coming back onto the water, and it feels quite electric.
You think to yourself, yes, here we go, start again. This time next year, like Del Boy, I'm going to be a millionaire. Never happens, but you got to have it, haven't you? You want to see people lift, and then away we go.
Going into spring, the water temperature is at its lowest. Just, March, April, 6-7 degrees, so things tend to kick off quite slowly.
The trees start to see green on them again. The sun comes up earlier in the morning and you see more of the blue sky. It's full of positivity.
The whole strait comes alive, really. You get a few small boats out doing a bit of fishing, cod fishing. The spring for me is when we really have to do most of the work on the boat.
Start seeing people getting the paintbrushes out, the sandpaper out and whatever, and start getting prepping their boats and things. And you've had the winter to yourselves then, and it's probably time for other people to start enjoying the Menai Strait.
The Strait awakens after a long, dark winter. And with warmth comes new life and new hope.
You always get the spring runs of fish and what have you, because, they work, on a seasonal basis as well. It's a time when crabs start to molt and fish start feeding on them.
For conservationist Frankie Hobro, her sea zoo is a barometer for this change.
The tanks and things in the aquarium are an extension of the natural habitat and environment in the sea around us. All our water comes from the Menai Strait, and we pump it through the aquarium and back out into the Menai Strait again. So this time of year, we've got slightly warmer water temperatures, a little bit more plankton and that kind of thing. They're kind of waking up from the winter, and you start to see this activity come back, and they start to feed a little bit more, and you start to see the first signs of breeding activity as well. You've got things like the seahorses starting to flirt with each other and the cuttlefish starting to lay eggs. To me, that shows that you've got it right.
Frankie and her team have every reason to be optimistic about the new season. Menai, the olive ridley turtle washed up outside the sea zoo in November, barely alive and 12,000 miles from home, is miraculously making good progress.
As you can see, Menai's coming on in leaps and bounds. She's diving under the water, swimming under the water. Buoyancy issues are basically gone. It's incredible. She's a completely different turtle to the turtle that we found that was really sick, almost dead. She's fit, she's healthy, she's feisty. She's behaving like a wild turtle as well, so she's definitely ready for the next stage of her rehabilitation, which will be a nice oceanic tank, outdoors, natural sunlight, natural conditions, foraging for herself. And then eventually, a few months after that, maybe even a year after that, when she's ready for permanent release, then we'll ship her a little bit further south in the Atlantic and let her make her own way. back out in the wild.
For the seasonal businesses along the Strait, surviving another winter has been an achievement. After months of very little income, they need to get ready for the Easter holidays and the arrival of the first paying customers of the year.
It's emptier here now, isn't it? Than it was last time you came. Still a lot of going. It always starts in the blooming spring. That's when it's busy on the land here. How are you, Eric? I can't swear today, you're on telly. Star and screen, Crime Watch. Incredible. You've got so much to do. All these people in the boatyard were getting the boats ready. They want to launch. You bloody give me the money, lad, and boat stays where it is. No cash, no splash, you know the rules. The jar of honey isn't there anymore. There's a little bit of drip on the bottom, that's all there is.
Caernarfon boatman Emrys Jones is worried Easter may come too soon. Having repaired his antique winch and track and finally got the Queen of the Sea out for some essential repairs, he's concerned he may miss the Easter honeypot, which would spell disaster.
We only had 2 weeks, I think, to do the painting this year because having to do all the rails, but there's another deadline really because you've got to get your jobs done and you've got to trying to get ready for, if you can, if Easter's not too early, then I trying to get the boat ready for Easter. We're just replacing part of the wheelhouse that was it was quite rotten, so hoping we could have left it for a bit longer, but we decided a week ago to take it out, and it's a bit of a rush now to get it ready for the weekend, but we'll crack on today and tomorrow, and we'll have the wheelhouse ready. I'll put that in the wheelhouse till we get a new one. It's dead in the engine now, isn't it?
Award-winning landscape photographer Glyn Davis is also getting ready for Easter. To coincide with Anglesey Arts Week, he's hosting an exhibition at his own gallery.
An exhibition for me is very, very important, but it's a chance for customers, real customers, to actually come in and see big, beautiful prints in one place at one time. It's a way of me assessing what I've been shooting. The work that I put out at Easter has all been shot, usually over the last few months.
Any free time is spent out in the local landscape in search of inspiration.
A walk that I do quite often is from my gallery, underneath the bridge, underneath the Menai Bridge, around Church Island here, again, which is steeped in history with an ancient church, I think it's from 6th century. And then you walk off around past the bird hide and through those lush big woodlands over there. This area in particular is very important to me. My Nine and Tide's ashes were scattered because this was a view that they always loved, looking out over Church Island with the Britannia Bridge in the background and the Menai Bridge just behind us there. As kids, we'd walk across this bridge and throw sticks and stones in it and watch the drop, hear the splash from below. People love coming to see this old bridge. It is quite spectacular, not just because of what it does, but because of simply the way it looks. When the light works, it picks out all the textures and you pick out even more structure in 3 dimension. This little house has been here for yonks and yonks. And I was just lucky one morning when there was steam coming out of the chimney. And it was just like a little Hansel and Gretel cottage. And I photographed it in black and white. And there was all these really, really rich textures. And there's just one of those lovely little finds just on a simple walk from Menai Bridge out towards the Britannia Bridge in the distance.
The Menai Strait, it's an amazing adventure destination, so people come from all over the world to this area to come and get involved in super extreme sports, less extreme sports, walking on a coast. It doesn't matter what they're doing, they come here to do activity.
Jamie Johnson and Ali Yates are instructors at Plas Menai, the National Outdoor Centre for Wales. The Strait is their place of work and their playground.
We run everything from what is deemed as the placid and calm to probably more the high octane, high adrenaline based type stuff.
We can finish at 5, can't we, and be on the water at 4:30. Where I like to go, because I don't like the big waves and the big scary stuff, there's an inland sea, you know, where you can stop and have a chat. And it doesn't have to be, you can just pick your spot. That's the thing, it's so diverse.
Anglesey, Menai Strait, something for everyone. They should sell that as a tagline.
Plas Menai is open all year, but with longer days and warmer weather, this corner of the Strait comes alive with the sounds of kids having fun. Introducing local school children to the thrills of adventure activities is what Jamie, Ali and the staff do here.
It's so important for kids to come outside and do more outdoorsy stuff. It just kind of gives them a bit more rounded life skills with everything.
Can anyone tell me what's wrong with my helmet at the minute now? It's not clipped in, it's going to be pretty rubbish, isn't it? If I go upside down, this falls off. So we'll make sure we have it clipped in.
Today we've been doing some leap of faith stuff. So they've been learning how to get into a harness, how to do all the harnesses up. They've been climbing up the pole and then we get them to jump off. So yeah, it's a big trust exercise with everyone.
3, 2, 1, go! Hey!
A striking thing for me was when we were reading their feedback, we were actually all choked up. It was quite emotional. It meant so much to them. It did feel like we were changing lives, yeah, by just being able to give them an opportunity to be able to get out and have a go at something and to find some confidence.
It's spring, and the Strait comes alive after a winter of virtual hibernation. The tidal range in the Strait, the difference in height between low and high water, is huge. And this time of year, massive spring tides exaggerate these differences. When the tide retreats, a vast sea world comes into view.
One end of the Menai Strait, you've got a very low tidal range, something like 4 metres at the Carnarvon end. And on the eastern side, it's double that. It's up to 8 metres. So that in itself creates an imbalance in terms of the position of the water in high water, low water. And you could say that in some ways there's a real slope.
It's a perfect time for mussel boatman John Jones to venture out onto his mussel beds to inspect his crops.
Initially, before we start moving anything around, we like to have a look at the growth of the seed mussel that we fished in August last year to start with, the amount of predation that's taken place over the winter period, and just have some kind of an estimate then of the tonnage that we have left on the area. Usually the bird life will have their fair share of feed, so you could be losing anything from 60 to maybe 80% of your produce that you've actually fished last year. And you can see the shell where the birds and the green crab have actually had a nice meal. And then move on to the healthy stock that is there. Hopefully these babies will be in about 15 months' time. We've got a bit of growth to go, but they're looking very healthy at the moment. For us, certainly, it's part and parcel of the job. We work with nature. We depend on nature to supply the seed. And you know, it's something that we have to live with. In many ways, it's not a bad thing. You know, it's food for the bird population that come into the Menai Straits, and I think that many of the birds possibly come into the Menai Straits because the mussel beds are here to feed on. The whole place is dynamic, so everything keeps on moving. If you're walking out there on a regular basis, you're seeing all this happening, and you plan for it. You plan for the next 12 months of working around that. The trouble is that you're always against time. One eye's on that side and you watch, because you know that as soon as that tide turns, then you've got to get the hell out of there. When you're 3/4 of the way back to the car park, then you can turn around and just look back and you think, yeah, wow. Usually blowing by then as well.
Easter holidays and the tourists arrive. For Stan, it's the thrill of the first boat trip of the year and a chance to deliver his famous banter.
Now we're going to start the cruise, folks, with a tape-recorded commentary on the history of this part of the world, with particular reference to the dates, simply because I never remember them and Ollie never knew them. The thing about the first trip, you can tell if you've got a decent crowd on, that you can wind them up and this, that and the other and have a bit of entertainment. What's that flying past? There's a puffin just, 2 puffins just, 3 puffins just flown past there. Is everybody getting a good view of these birds? So it's just me then. Do you get them, folks? Marvellous. Don't have to give a rebate now. You don't get bored. If you get bored doing this, open the box.
At the western end of the Strait, boatman Emrys has just about made it. His boat, the Queen of the Sea, is ready. He can start working and finally get the till ringing.
There's 3 factors you need in this job. You need the weather, the tide and the people. A lot of places, they haven't got the problem we've got with the tide, so you need all 3 factors really to make the money, yeah.
Whereas Stan can work his boat whatever the tide off the pier in Beaumaris, the quay at Carnarvon is tidal, and Emrys can only work when conditions are perfect.
They're very lucky there to have the pier and the pontoon on the end of the pier. That's made a massive difference for them as well. I could probably operate about 2/3 of the time from here, but you get a week of the good tides, and then every other week you struggle a bit for a few days until the tides come back again. It's quite good at the moment, the tide, because well, that's how they work out Easter with the full moon. So we've had big tides, and usually when you got big tides, you got the high water around about midday, so the tide will be good for a few days now.
Could I have your attention, please, while I give you the following safety announcement? This vessel is equipped with 1 65-man inflatable life raft, which is at the stern.
Oh, it's nice to start, but there's been a bit of a rush to get everything organised and ready on time, but we managed it. We were about 15 minutes late setting off in the end, but I think that anyway, we're up and running anyway. That's the main thing. For the first trip, it's not too bad at all out. It's a bit of a cool day really, and didn't think we'd be able to run today. At one point, I didn't think it was going to be warm enough, but it suddenly warmed up a bit with that sun.
The Easter crowds also arrive at the Sea Zoo.
There's always the risk of having a bit of a wild card factor with seasonal businesses, and this year that was a turtle, which is fantastic. Great news that we've got her, great news that she's doing really well, but obviously it did affect the cash flow because we weren't open in the winter. It took a lot of staff time, a lot of extra costs to carry her through the winter. It's a big relief actually this weekend. It's really nice. It's nice that it's come with sort of nice mixed weather, nice that there's loads of people around. We rely on mixed weather here really because we like the sun to bring people to North Wales and the area, but we really get busiest on days when people can't go to the mountains and the beaches because they're the main reasons that they come to Anglesey in particular and North Wales.
The mountains and beaches around the Strait have pulled a crowd into Glyn's Menai Bridge Gallery and his latest exhibition of landscape photography.
Well, after 2 solid weeks of work and another late finish last night, we finally got the last captions up today. And as with all private views, you never really know quite how many people are going to turn up on the night. You can send out all your invites, but it's been a brilliant turnout. There's been lots and lots of people coming, lots of positive feedback.
It's a good way of me physically looking at what I'm doing, seeing it in print, getting a flavour for a body of work, a new body of work, and my own enthusiasm then, once I've done a lot of hard work editing to get that show together, is then when you get the customers coming in and then they're responding to it and they go, wow, this is new, I love this new stuff.
I just like the light, the way it captures the light, the shadows. and all its forms.
I think I like the contrast between the more darker, melancholic, sort of moody, bleak ones he does, which I do like. And I also like the very bright beach, blue skies. There's the two extremes.
Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah. Everything's so original and sort of a cut above everything. So you see a lot of photographs from local photographers, but something about Glyn's work is just that extra X factor.
What's lovely is that people do still value coming in to see an incredible print where they can stand back and absorb it.
Those four that I'd seen before on Facebook, this size, and just to see them for real like that, on that scale. Because some of these images will go down small very happily, but most of them need to have that scale. It's almost like a poetic thing. So they're never just a photograph of a place or a thing. They've always got that other element. You begin to wonder, who is this person who did this? Who is this photographer?
I think it's the way that he sees landscape. There are things that he selects that moves him inside. We've said to him sometimes, can you not change your subject matter? No, because the mountains and the walking and angles in the sea is really important to him.
It is in the blood, and it is a way of life. I still love taking pictures, and I still love engaging with other people. I still love seeing and hearing their response to my work, and that is priceless.
Next time, early summer and the Strait gets busy.
At times there's that many boats out there and it can be frightening.
They haven't got a blooming clue. They think we're going on a pond, and it ain't a pond.
Emrys pilots the Balmoral.
Captain of the Balmoral, he's only too pleased for you to steer her through because it's a very tricky area.
And Jamie promotes a swim safe campaign.
Sends a message out that what's to do if it goes wrong, what to do for the youngsters if they do go in the water.